Coming up next on Making Moves, we'll tell you how technology will play a major role in our transportation future, how new downtown development means a jump in business for JTA, how you might be missing out on one of the best parts of Sunday football experience if you're not riding the Gameday Express. And we head to the Riverside YMCA to see how JTA Connexion is helping a blind woman lead an independent life. I'm Donna Deegan. These stories and more right now on Making Moves. Hello and welcome to another edition of Making Moves, your premier source for transportation news and information. I'm Donna Deegan. Glad to have you with us for today's show. Coming up, we'll check out the Innovation Summit held recently in Jacksonville to see what some experts predict will be the future of transportation. Eugene Lindsay shows us the impact of transit-oriented development on the Skyway, and we'll update you on a key West Side road project. But we begin with the JTA's plan to use technology to enhance Jacksonville's transit system. It's the annual State of the Authority. Back in May, the JTA unveiled its vision for transportation for Jacksonville and the surrounding region. That vision is known as MOVE. And here to talk more about MOVE is JTA's Senior Vice President and Chief Administration Officer, Cleveland Ferguson. Cleveland, welcome to Making Moves. It's so great to have you with us today. And since this is your first time on Making Moves, tell us about your role at JTA.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I handle the safety and security enterprise, risk management, and customer service, government, legal affairs portfolio.
Okay, it sounds like an important job. So let's talk about MOVE.
Sure.
What is it and how does that work?
Sure. MOVE stands for Mobility Optimized Through Vision and Excellence, and essentially it is our transportation master plan. JTA is much more than a bus company, and we understand that buses is only a portion of a person's transportation throughout the day. And so we see mobility in a completely different way. We understand that people need to get to ultimately their final destination, and there are other modes of transportation that are a part of that. We want to integrate all of those modes together, and so MOVE is going to help us get there.
So tell me, how is MOVE going to help us get there?
There are three key elements: smart technology, autonomous vehicles, and new partnerships.
So all three of those things obviously are things that we're hearing more and more about, but give us some examples there of what exactly that you mean. Obviously we've all heard of autonomous vehicles, but how is that exactly going to work in all of this?
Sure. Well, when you consider the average person doesn't live right next to a bus stop. And it is, when you think of the first mile and the last mile, an individual would either have to walk a few blocks to get to the bus stop, or maybe even a mile or more. And if they don't have another transportation option, they're going to have to take a taxi or some transportation network company such as an Uber or a Lyft to get there. It's inefficient for a bus, a 40-foot bus, to traverse through a neighborhood to get to a person's home to ultimately take them to where they have to go. Mm-hmm. So we would expect then that once the customer takes the bus and gets to the bus stop, then they would take a taxi or an Uber to get to their final destination. And so the MOVE plan is designed to integrate all of those modes together so that that customer no longer has to worry about taking all of those modes of transportation. They can get there by interconnecting into a single app and be able to plan their trip accordingly from their home all the way to their destination.
Well, that sounds great. We are hearing so much these days about a disruption in transportation. Can you give our viewers an idea of what that disruption actually is and how it affects them?
Sure. Well, it is said that transportation is going to change more in the next 10 years than it has in the last 100 years. And when you look at it on the customer side, my children who are now 6 and 9 may not even have to own a car once they are of driving age. They can go to an app and select a vehicle. On the transit side of the business, it's not going to be possible for transit companies to just run bus service. We have these entities called transportation network companies. These are the Ubers, the Lyfts, that are coming onto the scene and are very, very popular. And so it will be important for transit agencies to really begin to partner with those entities to cover really those first mile, last mile issues, or they very well may go out of business.
Well, I have to say, as a parent that has had teenagers who have been driving before, I think it's really not fair that you perhaps will not have to endure. Kidding, obviously. That would be fantastic for safety and for all sorts of reasons. Sure. If our kids didn't have to always be jumping in a vehicle while they're distracted with a million other things, right? Or the rest of us too, right?
Indeed, indeed.
So let's talk a little bit about that disruption and how JTA is embracing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, the JTA over the last several years have been meeting with transportation network companies, TNCs, and others to really find the right balance to help augment JTA service. For example, at the beaches, we used to run a beaches trolley along A1A, and we found that was not the most efficient way to provide service to our customers at the beaches. And so we partnered with beachside buggies, which allows customers in the area to access that service via text. And that is so much more efficient and so much more reliable for our customers. And so that is an effective way to partner with a private provider to provide services to our customers. And we're continuing to look for those innovative ways. We eliminated our community shuttles in Mandarin and in some places in Arlington to provide a better, more accessible taxi service in those areas, and that has worked out well. Okay. So we're always looking for innovative partnerships to provide better first mile, last mile service for our customers.
Well, I have to say that is one thing that really has become a hallmark of JTA over the last several years. We seem to be leading in this space a lot, and I love the fact that not only does it seem like that we're open-minded to anything that's coming out there, but also that we seek community involvement in those things so that everybody's sort of on the same page.
Absolutely. Mr. Ford, when he was the chairman of the American Public Transportation Association, really preached that message that we've been practicing here in Northeast Florida throughout all of the transportation agencies throughout North America, that it's very important to engage the community and to help find those solutions that are appropriate for our communities to really integrate the best mobility options that make sense.
Fantastic. Well, I know you have some new system changes coming in December. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. We are launching the third of our lines for First Coast Flyer. The red line will be launched on December 3rd, which will go out from the beaches into downtown. We are also launching our new Xpress Select service in partnership with Nassau County out from Yulee, which will be an express commuter service, as well as also eliminating some community shuttle service with alternative services that will be announced in the near future. So we're continuing to improve our services from the route optimization initiative that was started 4 years ago to provide that very best integrated service that we can for our customers.
Well, I know this was your first time on Making Moves. I hope it is not your last. You'll come back and update us on these things?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you
for being with us today. Cleveland Ferguson of the JTA. All right, well, Mayport Ferry. It was a long and frustrating process, but work on the St. Johns River Ferry and the ferry landing has been completed, and the ferry is now back in the water and operational. That means many ferry passengers will no longer have to endure the 28-mile detour to use the Dames Point Bridge to get to their destination. The ferry was closed for 2 months for the boat's biannual inspection and to allow work crews to replace the metal bridges that vehicles use to drive onto the boat. First, the existing 30-year bridges had to be removed and the infrastructure prepared before the installation of the new bridges could begin. Since the bridges were being replaced at both the Mayport and St. George Island landings, the crane then had to be moved between the two sites. The ferry officially reopened on November 1st. Still to come on Making Moves, Bill Milnes tells us why JTA's Gameday Xpress is fast becoming Duval's favorite way to go see the Jaguars play. We'll take you to the Innovation Summit, where the talk was all about new technology advancements and how they are changing everything. Then later, you'll meet a vision-impaired woman who continues to take on the world with a little help from the JTA. We'll explain when we come back.
Riding JTA has never been easier than with the My JTA app. Now you can pay for your next bus or ferry ride right from your phone. Just download the free My JTA app from your phone's app store and you're ready to go. Use the drop-down menu to select your fare and pay by using Visa, MasterCard, or Discover. You can purchase 1, 3, 7, or 31-day bus passes or a single ride on the St. Johns River Ferry. The My JTA app. Transit for a modern world. For most of us, eating healthy is just a matter of choice. We go to the nearest supermarket and pick out all the fresh produce we want. But how healthy would you be if all you had nearby was fast food restaurants and convenience stores filled with junk food and frozen pizzas? Every Friday, JTA's Rosa Parks Produce Market is helping you eat healthier with lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, all at reasonable prices. Rosa Parks helped change our world. Now the Rosa Parks Produce Market can help change your life.
Of the 8 Skyway stations, Jefferson Street Station has always had one of the lower ridership totals. But when the Vestcor company decided to build its lofts at La Villa apartment complex adjacent to the station, ridership numbers were expected to increase. As Making Moves correspondent Eugene Lindsay explains, the totals have not only far exceeded expectations, the company is now adding even more apartments right next door.
Historic La Villa is in the midst of a renaissance. New development is happening throughout the area. Multi-level residential communities are being built and they're drawing hundreds of people to move into the urban core. Phase 2 of the Jacksonville Regional Transportation Center is also located in La Villa, and they too are moving full speed ahead with construction. The location and accessibility to public transportation is expected to be a key component in the success of this Renaissance boom.
Been very well received. Lofts at La Villa, which is 100% affordable. We knew it would lease up. We thought it would lease up quickly, but we didn't realize how fast it would actually lease up. It was 100% occupied within 45 days of opening.
Hoover says being able to develop a residential community that flows along the path of mass transit is a benefit to people living here, as well as helping to spawn more growth into downtown Jacksonville.
After we saw what was going on in Brooklyn and the excitement and all the development there, we kind of saw La Villa as the next step where it kind of bridges between Brooklyn and downtown.
Their newest project, the Lofts at Jefferson, is currently in the early stages of construction and has the Jefferson Station Skyway stop practically interwoven into its plans.
So on the northeastern stairwell, we will have a connection at the bottom of the stairs, a sidewalk that goes from the stairwell out the building directly to Jefferson Station, the covered area. So we'll have an easy access into the station.
The idea here is to make living in La Villa both appealing and affordable to a cross-section of people of various income levels. They offer 2 categories of housing. Affordable housing are units set aside for people who make less than 60% of the area median income, which for a single person is about $29,000 a year, and for families of 4, around $41,000. Then there's also workforce housing. Now these are homes geared towards singles whose annual income is about $68,000 a year, and for families of 4 whose income is around $97,000.
I think really to get a strong downtown, you have to have everybody be able to live downtown. A lot of people that work down here may not be able to afford some of those rents. So the more you have, the more demand for services there is, whether it's grocery stores, pharmacies, anything that you would have downtown. So the more people you get down there, the more demand you'll have for it, which will help other things come in and grow as well.
This new development has had an immediate impact on Skyway ridership, specifically at the Jefferson station. Ridership at Jefferson is up nearly 1,000 riders a month since the Lofts at La Villa opened its door. Hoover says some people who have already chosen this new lofty lifestyle are taking full advantage of the convenience of mass transit.
We have several residents that use it at Lofts at La Villa. We know some that use it every day for work. We know one resident that actually works for the city, uses it every day, and it saves her about $50 a month in parking and other fees.
Hoover says the Lofts at Jefferson is scheduled to begin housing new tenants by the fall of 2019. In La Villa, Eugene Lindsay, JTA, Making Moves.
JTA CEO Nat Ford was a featured panelist at the recent Innovation Summit at the Prime Osborne Convention Center, where he and others talked about the future of transportation, energy, and more. As Making Moves correspondent Karen Adams explains, technology is rapidly changing everything about how we will manage our lives in the future.
What will the future of public transportation in Jacksonville look like? Well, get ready for some big changes, and it's all tied to technology. At the recent Innovation Summit, regional planners and public service CEOs came together to map out the course for the future. Nat Ford, the CEO of JTA, who oversees all of our city's buses and transportation, says, get ready for some big changes because they're on the horizon.
I think our citizens today are going towards on-demand transportation. They want it frequent, they want it when they need it. They're not going to wait at a bus stop, they're not going to wait at a bus terminal. We have to find ways using autonomous vehicles, using technology to give them what they're asking for in terms of services. And so we have a challenge over the next few years in terms of at what point is this technology going to be mature enough that we feel comfortable and that it's safe enough to fully deploy it.
Jacksonville has already been experimenting with this new concept with the U2C project, which is converting the Skyway to autonomous vehicles, and it's working well. We also have what's called JTA University, where current transportation employees are being retrained for the changes. In addition, JTA is partnered with Beachside Buggies, providing a unique on-demand door-to-door transit option to 3 different oceanside communities: Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, and Jacks Beach. JTA also has a working partnership with Coastal Cab to transport passengers around the Mandarin and Southside neighborhoods. So the big question is, what's going to happen to the traditional 40-foot buses? Will we still see them? The answer is yes. But newer, smaller, and highly technical alternatives are on the way to help assist. Experts are even looking at having an app on your phone where you can get a smaller bus or similar vehicle to come directly to your address. The possibility exists.
We are looking at those types of technologies now that will actually provide door-to-door service, will aggregate trips, and so when you ask for a trip, if your neighbor or someone nearby is asking for a trip, it will try to collect those trips and pull you together and provide that trip. And in doing that, it helps us with our efficiency. We're not trying to use a 40-foot bus when a smaller vehicle will be much more efficient and much more responsive.
You guys had 42 miles of streetcar system back in the day.
Gabe Klein from Washington, D.C. specializes in the future of transportation. He says Jacksonville's biggest challenge is urban sprawl. We're too spread out.
Look, a lot of the Sunbelt cities didn't invest in transit, right? And so they have a very sort of spread out land use. And so, you've got about 1,100 people per square mile. And in DC where I live, we've got 11,000 per square mile. So you can give people more services, more transportation services. Here it's challenging.
Those paths are very common in Silicon Valley where you go through zigzags.
And while it is challenging, events like the Innovation Summit are addressing it, bringing in the likes of Silicon Valley tech-savvy entrepreneurs and engineers like Rebecca Wang to experienced transportation officials like Gabe Klein. Plans are in place and the wheels are in motion. In downtown, Karen Adams, JTA, Making Moves.
With the Jacksonville Jaguars' recent return to prominence, there are few things more fun than being at TIAA Bank Field with 68,000 of your closest friends to watch the game in person. The only downside is the traffic jams before and after the game. But as Making Moves correspondent Bill Milnes tells us, the smartest of Jacksonville Jaguars fans have already figured out the most fun and efficient way to get to the stadium is on JTA's Gameday Express.
This get-together has all the makings of a great tailgate party, except this one isn't outside TIAA Bank Field. It's actually at the Gameday Express lot across from the Convention Center in La Villa. This location is one of 5 Gameday Express lots throughout the city, and the fans at the stadium have nothing on these folks. Well, except maybe a longer wait.
Depending on what part of town you live in, some people live in Riverside, so it's easy accessibility to have the same tailgate experience around the stadium as in the outskirts, and the accessibility of the buses is a good option.
It's more convenient here. It's not so congested, and we take the shadow because we can park our cars downtown and ride here. It's more convenient.
We tailgate here because it's a big open area. You got the nice AC bus to go down and to take, and it comes back. It's easier to get out. You don't have to fight all the traffic.
After getting their party on, the folks here and at all of the Gameday Express locations don't have to worry about fighting traffic. They just get on board one of the 100 or so buses JTA has ready to take them directly to the stadium for the game. A bus full of Jaguars fans, it's the perfect way to get pumped up for the game. And since JTA is enemy team friendly, you can even have some fun with some out-of-towners, like these Patriot fans.
All right, see y'all on the next one.
The trip to the sports complex is quick and energy-filled. The Gameday Express has priority entrance, and when you arrive, you'll be just steps from the stadium.
We've been taking it for the past 5 years. It's great.
What is it great about it?
It's convenient, it's always on time, and it's efficient.
The trip out, just as fast, and while those who paid a lot more to park at the stadium are still stuck in traffic, you'll be in your car reminiscing about another Jaguars win. In La Villa, Bill Milnes, JTA Making Moves.
Expansion on a busy West Side roadway continues to progress. Collins Road between Old Middleburg Road and Rampart Road is being expanded to 4 lanes with raised medians, bike lanes, sidewalks, and a new drainage system. Work on Collins began about a year ago, shortly after a new Costco opened in the vicinity, which has greatly increased daily traffic. When it's completed, Collins Road will have improved roadway capacity, reduced congestion, and safer driving conditions. The expected completion date is sometime in late 2020. Well, up next, JTA picks up 4 new awards. Plus, we'll ride with a local blind woman to find out how JTA Connexion gives her the independence she craves. Stay tuned.
Everyone should know how to do hands-only CPR. If you see a teen or adult suddenly collapse, all you need are
2 simple steps. Call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives.
Just push to the beat of the classic song, Stayin' Alive.
It really works.
You didn't let me finish. I really do know this stuff.
If it wasn't for disco, I'd be dead.
Stayin' alive. Stayin' alive.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent hurricane, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
Riding JTA has never been easier than with the My JTA app. Now you can pay for your next bus or ferry ride right from your phone. Just download the free My JTA app from your phone's app store and you're ready to go. Use the drop-down menu to select your fare and pay by using Visa, MasterCard, or Discover. You can purchase 1, 3, 7, or 31-day bus passes or a single ride on the St. Johns River Ferry. The My JTA app. Transit for a modern world.
Well, they've done it again. JTA has picked up 4 more industry awards, this time from the Florida Public Transportation Association. JTA won overall top honors for its safety program and 3 more awards in communications and marketing. JTA was honored with the FPTA Gold Safety Award for its comprehensive safety program, including the new See and Say mobile app. The app allows employees and customers to quickly send alerts, photos, and other messages of concern directly to JTA's Safety Office for investigation. Since its inception earlier this year, nearly 300 users have downloaded the app for use. Meanwhile, the authority also took home 3 marketing-related awards from the FPTA for its ad campaign in J Magazine, featuring the new Regional Transportation Center and its plan for autonomous vehicles. JTA also picked up awards for the Making Moves series, Why I Ride. The multi-part series was written and narrated by Terry Casey and produced by Terry, videographer Mick Richards, and our executive producer Bill Milnes, and for its Choice Rider campaign based on the Why I Ride series. The annual FPTA Awards were held last month in Daytona. You've probably seen the large white shuttle vehicles driving on Jacksonville roadways with JTA Connexion written on the side. Well, those vehicles help ensure that the city's disabled community is able to live a more independent life. JTA Connexion provides specialized transportation services to wheelchair-bound, vision-impaired, and other customers with a variety of disabilities.
Meet LaToya Kendrick. She's 36 years old and suffers from an eye disorder called cone rod dystrophy, which slowly took away her sight. LaToya says when she first began to lose her vision, she relied on friends and family to take her everywhere she needed to go. But when those rides became harder to come by, she tried taking a city bus.
To know the specific location where the bus stops was difficult, especially when your vision have decreased. So trying to find the bus stop and read the bus stop labels saying what buses come to or from, it was difficult at first.
Then her boyfriend suggested she check out the big white bus of JTA Connexion. So LaToya went through the application process and 2 weeks later got the good news.
It was much better. It took a load off my chest.
Now LaToya uses Connexion to go almost everywhere.
Going to the movies, hanging out with friends, going to different events in Jacksonville, things I would like to do or I want to do, and these going to and from the doctor, going to and from work.
One of her regular stops is here to the YMCA in Riverside to do her daily workouts. Y Director Tim Burrows says that having the JTA Connexion as a transportation option is critical for people like LaToya and others with medical issues or disabilities to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
And if it wasn't for the folks at JTA and the great work that they do to go pick those folks up in the community and bring them to the Y or other fitness centers across the Jacksonville area, nothing could be accomplished. So it's something that's so simple but so beneficial by just getting a ride and being a part of that partnership with the JTA Connexion.
In Brooklyn, Bill Milnes, JTA Making Moves.
And that wraps up this edition of Making Moves. We thank you for taking the time to join us. Remember, you can check out our past episodes anytime on jtafla.com. You can also find stories and other exclusive content when you like our Facebook page at facebook.com/JTA Making Moves. I'm Donna Deegan. We hope to see you next time for another edition of Making Moves. Take care, everyone.